Hello everyone, it's Miss Thomas, and today we are going to look at solving radical equations. So a radical equation is any equation with a variable in a radicand or with a rational exponent. So the steps for solving radical equations, the first thing you want to do is isolate the radical expression. Rarely you're going to see two radical expressions, so if there are two radical expressions, you actually want to get them on opposite sides of the equal sign. Opposite sides of equal. So you would want it to look something like this instead of square root of x plus 2 plus the square root of x equals 0. Okay? Then the next thing, you'll want to raise both sides to a power that cancels the radical. So let's say that I had the square root of x plus 2, and just to simplify it, let's say that we've got 4 on the other side. So if you think about it, the square root, the opposite of a square root is squaring something. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other, and you do it to the whole side. And then from there, you'll just solve it like normal. So after you square both sides, you'd end up with x plus 2 equals 16. So x would have to equal 14. Okay, so that's step 3. Just solve as usual. Okay, so here we have 2 times the quantity x plus 3, quantity raised to the 2/3 power equals 8. Okay, so we have our quantity that's being raised to a radical exponent, and that's what we want to isolate. So this 2 here needs to go. The 2 is being multiplied, so we're just going to divide both sides by the 2, because when it has a radical exponent, we can't multiply in. So we cancel those 2 out. Get x plus 3, raise the quantity, raise to the 2/3 power equals 4. So then we want to think about, okay, well, what can I raise both sides of this equation to cancel out a 2/3 power? Well, we just raise it to the 3/2 power. Do the same thing on this side. So the 2's cancel and the 3's cancel. So then you're just left with x plus 3 on the left side raised to the 1st, and then 4 to the 3/2 power. So this is where remembering 3/2 is like having the square root of 4 to the 3rd. So the square root of 4 is just 2, so this is the same as having 2 to the 3rd. So 2 to the 3rd is 8, so x is equal to 5. So we want to go ahead and check that. 2, 5 plus 3 raised to the 2/3 equals 8. So we have 8 to the 2/3 equals 8. So right now it doesn't look like it, but cube root of 8 squared cube root of 8 is 2 squared. So we end up with 2 to the third equals 8, which is true. So x does equal 5. So this next example, you really want to pay attention to. It is the most common issues you are going to face. So we need to simplify this. We subtract the 3 over. So square root of 5x minus 1 will equal x minus 3. So we're going to go ahead and square both sides, but be careful, you're squaring a binomial. So you end up with 5x minus 1 on the left. X minus 3, quantity squared, is not x squared minus 9. Okay? You have to remember that it is x minus 3 times x minus 3. So 5x minus 1 is going to be equal to x squared minus 3x plus 9. So 5x minus 1, x squared minus 6x, combining like terms, plus 9. So we have a quadratic here. Whenever you have a quadratic, you're going to want to actually get everything to one side. So I'm going to subtract the 5x and add the 1. So my left-hand side is going to equal 0. I'm going to have x squared minus 11x plus 10. So looking at this, I can see that it's factorable. X minus 10, x minus 1. Minus 10 minus 1 will multiply to the plus 10, but add up to that negative 11. So we've got two factors, they equal 0. Using the zero product property, I'm going to split that up. So my x is going to equal 10, and my x is going to equal 1. So particularly when you get two equations, you are really, or two answers, you're going to really want to check those for extraneous solutions. So my original equation was the square root of 5x minus 1 plus 3 equals x. So I'm going to check that once where x is 10 and once where x is equal to 1. So I'm just going to simplify as I go. 5x is going to give me a 50, minus 1 plus 3 should equal that 10. So square root of 49 plus 3 equals 10. 7 plus 3 equals 10. Checking the 1, 5 minus 1 plus 3 should equal 1. Square root of 4 plus 3 equals 1. Two plus 3 does not equal 1. X equals 1 is not a solution, so this is it. So you're going to go ahead and solve this following equation. Square root of 4x minus 23 minus the 3 equals the 5.